We're back with our countdown of the ultimate 10 martial arts. Kicking into the number 7 spot is the most widely practiced martial art in the world, and for good reason.
We teach self-discipline and self-control. If you don't have all these aspects together, you never will become a champion in life.
More than 1,000 years ago, Korean warriors developed unarmed self-defense techniques to complement their skills with weapons. But in the last century, Japanese occupation suppressed their style. When Korea was finally liberated in 1945, martial art masters united the uniquely Korean schools, or kwans, into a single national sport. They called it Taekwondo. And in the last 5 decades, it has become part of a worldwide phenomenon. Known for its spinning kicks and potent hand techniques, Taekwondo literally translates into the way of the hand and foot.
Now, almost 200 countries running Taekwondo. More than 3,000 black belts in the world.
Taekwondo's global following led to its inclusion in the 2000 Sydney Olympics. Master Chun coached the American team to victory. Now his focus is to train the next generation of gold medalists.
We got 5 kids going to the Junior Nationals this time in Tampa, Florida from our school here.
Training requires learning the graceful and powerful kicking, punching, and blocking techniques practiced in traditional sets, known as hyung.
30 years ago, just a simple front snap kick, side kick, flying side kick. Now, back spinning hook kick, lot of double kick, lot of growing kicking technique.
Okay, 준비.
Students must also become proficient in one-step sparring, short set sequences of attacks and counterattacks.
Fighting your classmates or fighting in a tournament, you're going to be used to that type of situation. And when you're actually encountered by somebody who wants to physically harm you, your mind will just click into that fighting mode and you'll be ready.
Tampa, Florida is home to this year's Junior Nationals, a qualifying competition for the national team. The competitors gear up for their matches. They'll have just 3 rounds to try and outscore their opponent.
The way you make a point is to kick above the torso, hitting the chest protector, or to the face, which are both 1 point.
Taekwondo matches are won with strategy and timing.
It's an aggressive sport. It's also very technical. It's kind of like chess. You can't just go out there and fight and expect to win.
A student of Master Chun's has made it to the quarterfinals.
Thank you. Make a training, okay? Very welcome. Okay, good. Almost close.
Illegal blows would be a punch to the face, would be a kick to anywhere below the belt level, or a sweep. Those would make you have a half-point deduction.
Ultimately, Master Chun's team is outmatched. But as much as this art has come to represent competition and winning, there is still a lifetime of learning in store for the students of Taekwondo.
Bend your knee, bend your knee.
For kickstarting the most prolific martial art in the world, Taekwondo scores the number 7 spot in our countdown. Next. Masters of this fighting style can summon an invisible force field.
We're trying to become one with the rhythm and the energy of the universe. And this is where we get our power.
In the center of downtown Los Angeles is a traditional academy, or dojo, dedicated to the ancient art of Aikido, which means the way of harmony with the life force. Reverend Kensho Furuya, a Zen Buddhist priest, teaches Aikido in its purest form.
The ideals that I try to instill in my students are the same ideals that the samurai have, because I follow the same method of training as the warrior long time ago with my students.
For hundreds of years, Japanese warlords fostered armies of warriors called samurai. In addition to being fiercely skilled swordsmen, they developed a spiritual foundation to support their combat methods.
After 1600, during an age of peace, martial arts began to develop in a more spiritual and a more intellectual way. And many of the great swordsmen and warriors during this period founded what we know as martial arts today.
Then, in the early 20th century, a master named Yushiba began to solidify the balance between combat techniques and spirituality. He called this new Zen art Aikido.
It develops one sense of spacing and timing with your opponent so that you're always out of range of his attack.
Students learn to absorb the forces of an oncoming strike and effectively redirect it.
It always moves in a way not to collide or overcome the opponent's force, but to move with the opponent's force out of the range of fire.
Because Aikido is a defensive art, it doesn't mean that it can't also be used to make a counterattack.
Aikido has some striking technique, but no kicks. We use many types of throwing technique and joint techniques.
Furuya also trains his students in the ancient sword techniques of the samurai.
Iaido is the art of drawing, cutting, and returning the blade to the scabbard. There's very strict rules of protocol, of conduct, of codes of behavior and honor, which they also have to follow. This is an essential part of the training to develop the proper mental attitude, the proper mental focus, and to refine one's spirit so they can throw themselves into their training. Among the samurai, they have an old saying, cry in the dojo, laugh on the battlefield. So the hardest work is done in the dojo, on the mat, in practice. As I present the whole art to my students, hopefully they can use what I'm teaching them for their own fulfillment, not just to become a strong fighter, but to develop themselves as a human being too. So as my Zen master said, as a teacher, we're just stepping stones for our students.
For keeping the samurai spirit alive, Aikido embraces the number 6 spot on our countdown. Next, an art that turns the body and mind into a lethal weapon.
One wrong blow could be the end of your life.
And stay with us to find out what will be the number 1 ultimate martial art.